Dear Entos investors, this is Anthony Joseph Kitharian Xavier, CEO of Entos Technologies. I hope you are staying safe with your family and inside your home to save yourself and the world in this pandemic. I take a few minutes to give update on Entos Technologies as we finish 2019 and Q1 of 2020. So here's what I would like to update you. Just let's relook at the problem what Entos is trying to solve and how. A brief history of Entos so far and the review of 2019 performance, and then what's our current plan for 2020 plan and current plan of fundraising. I just want to let you know that this is not a financial update, more of a strategic and execution update. Once the financial statement is audited and filed, I will send you those documents to your email IDs. So what's the problem? Let's think of a mid-sized company where they don't have any IT team. So some of the key problems or issues where the management of mid-sized companies who are facing are things are not done effectively and efficiently. What do I mean by that? For example, let's say orders are being delivered wrongly, be it a wrong quantity or delivered to the wrong address or delivered to the entirely different order is delivered to a different customer itself. And sometimes that there's no synchronization between the delivery team and the financial team. There is a chance of invoices being overbilled so that the customers are unhappy and sometimes angry with the company itself. And sometimes it is billing less, which is a loss of revenue for the company. The second most important thing is no visibility of financial or operational and customer key performance indicators. Meaning that what is my payment aging, which are the invoices are raised, and what are the payment terms, and when I'm going to receive the payment. In terms of operational, how are we doing in terms of delivery of the orders? Are we shipping at the right time, and are we agreeing to certain kind of an SLAs what we agreed with customers? So some of these operational parameters are also very important if I take some kind of an examples of order management. And what about customer analysis? Who are my customers and what kind of a product what they order, and which are most valuable customers, meaning that which are the customers who order more number of products more frequently and kind of a things. So this kind of an analysis also today is a very important for any mid-sized companies to grow. But all the management in the mid-sized companies do know that there are ERPs applications available in the market, but they also do know that it's very expensive and complex, and I don't have any expertise in my company to implement or to manage these ERPs. That's why they are not able to solve this problem, though they know that there are some applications available in the market. Also, these mid-sized companies want to grow to compete with the enterprises, and they also seeking the question of how can I take advantage of new technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, and Internet of Things. And some of them may not know these technologies in depth. So in this kind of a thing, so how do we make sure that they get benefit of these technologies even for them to grow and compete in the market? And another set of issues is that, or this may be specific to certain industries where they have their own custom processes which are not solved by the existing applications. For example, I can give you an example where we recently trying to give a solution to one of the shipping agencies. So this shipping agency is a very complicated workflow from the day the ship is loaded from a source port till the time that all the orders or all the containers are discharged from the destination boat and delivered to the customer. What these people are called this process as a shipping discharge process, correct? And shipping discharge process, what kind of a common applications are there? I think there are no specific applications or any solution which address to this kind of a specific unique business processes, which are also sometimes painful to some of the specific industries and verticals. So these are some of the key problems where mid-sized companies are facing today, and how do we solve this problem? The solution what Entos is trying to do is a concept called an IP PaaS platform, intelligent business process as a service. But the product what we are offering to the market is called Entos PalmFred. The main idea is to deliver end-to-end, ready-to-use automated business processes for our customers to consume. So what do I mean by an end-to-end? So basically, end-to-end typically means that it's a cross-functional, meaning that it goes across one department to other department and another value chain. It goes across the complete value chain of the company. Also, it comprises of all the steps which are involved to accomplish a specific goal. So let me differentiate. What do I mean by that? Let's take an order management process. So let's say people sometimes call invoice processing as an order processing, but that's not an end-to-end process, because invoice processing only takes care of managing the accounts receivable part of that one, though it is part of the order management. Whereas when I say the order to cash process, which is an end-to-end process, what do I mean by that is that the order to cash process involves all the activities from the time we receive the purchase order from the customer till we receive the payment from the customer. So that involves activities in the customer department, activities involved in the warehouse and order management and delivery, and also financial department. So this is what we call that as an end-to-end process. So invoice processing is not an end-to-end process, but it is part of an order to cash into process. The second dimension, what I would like to highlight is that ready to use. What Entos PalmFred mainly strategize or want to differentiate is that ready to use, meaning that you come to our platform and then you start using the processes like order to cash or procure to pay or request to service. So these are the kind of an end-to-end processes which is already automated and you start using from the day one. And the second key dimension of that IP PaaS platform is that it has to be delivered as a SaaS model, meaning that a subscription-based model. So we are also offering this as a kind of a pay-per-use. So one key difference between a IP PaaS platform and another SaaS platform is that most of the SaaS platform offer you a pricing model per user, but we have a pricing model per process instance. That's because in a company-wise workflow, I have to involve all my workforce or all my employees. So limiting, if I'm paying per users, I may encounter more number of costs than a higher cost than a lower cost. So here you can have unlimited number of users, but you pay only for the business process transaction what you consume. So these are the two main endpoints or the customer touch points where they will use it from the Entos PalmFred. But these two automated end processes and the subscription are relying on some of the key technologies. One is any process which is always automated or even non-automated always evolves around a document. For example, order management processes evolves around a customer purchase order, which is a sales order for the customer. So similarly, a loan approval process involves a loan application process. So if you take any workflow or any business process, it always evolves around the document. So a technology or a solution which has to be followed or which has to be inbuilt as part of the platform it should be the automated document digitization. It should involve a paperless office and also auto signature or digital signature on the documents. The other valuable technologies are artificial intelligence and machine learning, where artificial intelligence in terms of, for example, even including data extraction and data interpretation out of the documents or out of the document using natural language processing. Also, some of the predictive analysis or machine learning algorithms to use an automatic decision which can be placed in as part of the decisions or process flow itself, right? Or also better experience to gain for the using some of the AI techniques. And another key important technologies are the blockchain and IoT, where we can take benefits of that the compliance intercompany business transactions. For example, you can use some of the smart contract-based intercompany payment transfer for sales order and purchase order transactions. And similarly, for example, we can look at some of the data streaming or data extraction from IoT devices and put the data back into your automation decision processing so that the business process can make use of some of the data which is arriving from IoT devices as well. So in other words, what I would say that is that the bottom technologies need not to be known by the customers because these technologies are installed within the end-to-end business processes. So the customers only see that the value of these technologies as part of the end-to-end business processes, what they are consuming. So that they really don't need any experts to use any of these technologies, what we are mentioning as part of Entos POMFRET IP PaaS platform. So how are we different from the existing players today? So there are two extremes or two dimensions I would like to compare our Entos POMFRET IP PaaS with the other existing solutions. One is the PPM or PPA RPA solution, which is business process automation products or robotic process automation solution. The advantage of these products is that you can build your own automated processes. It need not be any specific one, so that you have your custom processes and you can have automate from the scratch the way what you want to build the automation. But the two difficult things in this one is that it need an experts. You need a business process analyst. You need an automation team who understand this product is something like UiPath or Automation Anywhere or Prism, right? And it's also complex. It's not that easy. It's complex to build, and it needs some lead time to deliver any kind of an automation solution what you're looking for. So suppose if I have only very few processes to automate, definitely this is a very expensive model for me to have that one. The second dimension, what we try to look at is that there may be already ready to use processes, right? For example, let's say any ERP, be it SAP, Oracle, or Microsoft Dynamics. These are all already meant, for example, let's say order to cash business process. So that is nothing but sales and distribution model in some of these ERP packages, correct? So similarly, if you take some kind of an CRM solutions, which will take care of the lead to customer code kind of an pre-order management processes, right? So some of these enterprise applications already have an automated process in a more coupled way with an UI and other things. But here again, the problem is because the applications are so rigid, and if you have a different kind of a process and you want to customize in a small modification or something, which is very difficult because these applications are more rigid and very difficult to customize for even some of your small changes. And more importantly, it also needs an experts and complex to implement for your company. So that's where that Entos POMFRET comes back and give you a differentiation comparing with this UPA or RPA or PPA solution providers. It provides ready-to-use automated processes, and you don't need any internal team, and does not require any lead time because the day one you consume, you can start taking the advantage of your efficient and productivity in your organization. And compare with enterprise solution providers like SAP or Oracle or other solution providers, you can start with a single process. For example, if you have a problem only in order management, then you really don't need other modules. You just consume the order process, right? So you don't need a complex monolithic application, ERP application. Start with a process which is more critical, more painful for you to solve it. Say order management. The second one is that then once you are comfortable with that one, and then pick up the next critical one and next critical one. And so keep on, you can build your own suite of enterprise automation by picking the application or by picking the automated processes what you want. And the best advantage is that all these benefits you have it, but you will only pay for the business process transaction what you are consuming. That way, the complete automation solution for your enterprise application, enterprise automation is affordable for any companies where we are targeting, especially for mid-sized companies where they don't have this kind of a bandwidth in the technology or money to invest in any other additional software or licensing part of it. The third dimension is what Entos is, because it uses a cloud native applications and it is offered as part of a business process as a service. We differentiate between the UI as or the complete the framework different from the business process. So business process is a completely decoupled from other frameworks so that any modification or customization on the core part of the business process flow modification can be done and plugged into the whole framework or application very easily. And the second one is that we are also working on the very flexible UI component so that even the UI parts of that one can be adopted to suit some of the customer specification. So in that way, what we would like to say, there are two ways we wanted to say that we are unique. One is that it is a ready to use automated business processes and pay per business processes. I hope so far it gives you the problem and the solution what we are trying to solve. Now let's have a quick look at the journey what Entos has done so far. In 2015, we incorporated Entos Technologies Pte Limited in Singapore, and mainly to start a PPA consulting and implementation services. And mainly it's a one-man army. It's myself who delivered the technology, especially on PPA consulting across APAC region, mainly in Singapore and Southeast Asia countries. So it was going very good, and we got around 69.8K Singapore dollars revenue in 2015, and the same thing continued till 2018. We got a consulting of 273.5K in 2016, and then 227.7K in 2017, and 138K in 2018. So the consulting part was going fine. We were able to generate revenue for our survival for that one. But when we were doing this implementation is where that overall idea of business process as a service more become real, and we wanted to make it to implement and come to the market. Though the business process as a service, which I presented a paper on in JBoss User Development Conference in Bangalore in 2013, that was only an academic perspective. But once I started implementing the process automation in industries, I really felt that this PPOS is a very much reality where the industry needs that one. So we started experimenting that in 2016 because we started get some revenue of our consulting. So we experimented with that idea, and then in 2017 we come up with a travel and expense management process, because it is a very standard process across the company, so it is very easy to sell that TEM process than something like O2C, where some of the order can be different from different companies. So this is what it is. So we first focus on the TEM, more standardized process, and then we looked at the standard developing on the O2C processes. So we will look at 2019 and 2020 detail in the upcoming slides. So in 2019, I think we got the total revenue of Singapore dollar 52.4K. You might see that is a drastic down of the overall revenue what we have gained so far, which is most of the time 100K, 200K kind of a thing in the past. But this year we got the revenue is pretty much less. One of the main reasons is that we, especially myself, couldn't pick up some of the low-hanging PPM products because we wanted to more focus on the product development. If we keep developing or keep doing consulting, then the product was not matured enough to go to the market. So in 2019, my primary focus or our primary focus was to do only strategic PPM consulting in the APAC region, but more focus on the product developments. That's one of the key reasons why the revenue, which is normally billed to the Singapore account, has come drastically. The second idea, what the team, the management felt was that since we have reducing the consulting because we are more focusing on the product development, what are the other streams of revenue so that as a startup we can sustain for a longer period? So one of the idea what it is given was that RPO, which is resource process outsourcing. It's like kind of giving resources to other IT companies like Wipro, HCL, or many IT companies, so that they can take our experts for their projects to deliver it, and kind of a revenue generating model. So we, in June 2019, this idea thought, why not we try, and we being in India, why can't we try this revenue model? So we started with that one, and it generated around Indian rupees 8,50,000 rupees, or 850K. If I convert that as a dollar equal to 50 rupees, then it comes around 17K. So in an Indian revenue or India, the revenue is more of RPO services, and Singapore revenue more of PPA or RPA consulting. So that's the overall things what we could look at that. And then in terms of investment, so far we have received Singapore dollar 113K equivalent, majority of them from Singapore, and a few we have taken the investment in the India entity itself. So this is what the overall revenue thing. The revenue is not that good as we expected, but more that mainly because more focus was made into the product development and raising the fundraising or raising the investment. So let's look at the overall performance of 2019, right? So first I look at the market and branding, marketing and branding. One, I think we did a good job in my view, that, or in our view, that we positioned Entos as an IP PaaS provider. We presented a speaker session in Intercon Dubai, and that idea of IP PaaS has been received and as well accepted by the jury, and we have called top 50 tech companies for the IP PaaS idea. And the second, also because we are very good in delivering automation solution through our partner Red Hat, we are also recognized by CIO Review Magazine as 20 most Red Hat solution providers by CIO Review Magazine. Then the final one important thing in terms of market is that we got a very nice early market feedback from some of the prospects whom we met. And so some of the key feedbacks are that when we launched with the travel expense management applications, the key feedback is that most of the salespeople or most of the travelers need the mobile application, and we didn't have that before. So in 2019, we focused on mobile application development, which accompanies our TM process of web application itself. So we developed, now the TM has both web applications or cloud-based application as well as a mobile app for the travelers as far as for the management to approval. So that feedback we got it from the prospects. And the second one, what we really felt was that when we go and met the mid-sized companies, that the TM is not perceived as a painful process, because they probably the travel might be less, or the employees are able to manage within that one. So whatever the value proposition, when we try to meet with the customers, especially in a mid-sized companies, this TM process is not perceived as a high value or for them. But they have they were very happy to adapt O2C process, that is order to cash or order management process. So that is then what Entos tried to do was we focused mainly to develop our focus, shifted our focus from TM to O2C process, and where we focused more on the O2C fully compliant for the India and Singapore market. That is the main reason where our total revenue, or in other words, we couldn't really get any paid customer for our Entos pamphlet, because in 2019, our strategy was to get our sell TM process, where the mid-size was not ready to pay for that kind of a solution, where we got a positive response for O2C process, where we are now having a fully functional O2C process as well as TM, and we will go in 2020 fully with the O2C process to the go-to-market strategy. In terms of operation, until last year or 2019, we were giving this product development or experiment with an outsourcing in India. But then this last year, we have incorporated Entos Pamphlet System Private Limited, which is a legal entity in India. So that we did it in January, and also until 2018, I think it was only me who manages the project and as well as the development of this one. So that made the whole company to really focus off here and there. So the main idea is to how do we increase the management team. So we were able to put in sales team and advisory team, which we will look at in one of the slides of upcoming ones. Okay. And the third dimension, as I said in the earlier slide, RPO team. Here comes a very good learning for us that we thought we will able to sustain ourselves by making the revenue model out of resource process outsourcing. But it also has its own challenge. First and foremost important thing is it's no way it is strategically aligned to the Entos vision of becoming an IP PaaS provider. So that's put us at a very difficult challenge for us to take our resources, which is totally different from the skill set what we have. And the second thing is that even in India, the market is so saturated and so many players are there. So if you have to play that RPO team successfully, then a lot of investment has to happen to make that one also successful. And then management decided and discussed and looked at that one. I think since that's not being part of our strategic in any way, and it also needs a lot of investments to go and to make it successful, we start that from 2020 in March. That means from Q1 onwards, this RPO service or RPO business is no more in Entos. We tried, we experimented it, and then we realized that no, I think that's not should be part of our portfolio anymore. So we start that RPO services business from March 2020. Then in terms of the final, the fifth dimension, the fundraising, to be frank, I think this is where I feel I was so disappointed, or that we couldn't raise as much as we wanted, because in the beginning of 2019, I was thinking of raising Singapore dollar 500K, and we tried to get the fundraising, but we could able to get only 13K, mostly from friends and families and PV angels have invested in our Entos technologies. That reason, I think we will come back to the next 2020 plan, and then we have to really improve on this one if we have to really become a global company. So in overall, what I would say for 2019, we did a decent enough branding. So a couple of the industries or some people knows about what Entos is for. And we also made a good product development based on the feedback from prospects. And we also formed, now we have a good solid management team, and also a core development team where it doesn't depend on a single resource. But in terms of area for improvement, our customer acquisition definitely has to improve, and our fundraising also has to be improved. And that is where our primary focus for 2020. So as I said, the primary focus is in 2020 is customer acquisition, right? So we are at least what we are trying to put our benchmark is that in this kind of challenges for a startup, at least in 12 months, right? In 2020, we should able to get at least 47 paid subscription on Entos Pamphlet. So here I meant that IP PaaS customers only, not the consulting or other revenues. We are only more focusing on the Entos IP PaaS subscription-based customers. So if we are able to get 47 customers, then that should be we would consider that as a very successful milestone for us to achieve in the roadmap of we becoming a #1 IP PaaS provider. And this only possible if we get an investment of US dollar 350K. So that is a second primary objective, or that's the main primary objective, what we really need to focus and get that one, and position as a promote and develop an IP PaaS for SMEs. So if you look at this, this is a vicious cycle, right? For example, in order for you to get customers, you need to have a product. You need to promote that product, or you need to position the product. In order for you to develop the product, you need a money, you need an investment. And investors will come and invest only when you have customers, right? So this is a very complex, vicious cycle. But the yearly we break this cycle, the yearly we become successful. So this year, Enthos will mainly focus on getting investment and getting customers. And let's break this vicious cycle in this year. So where are we on in Q1 2020? So far, we have come up with our console application. So this is currently in the test model. I think by end of 2020, we will make it for public, so that the online subscription of O2C and TM can be done on cloud itself, but currently in the test mode. So far we have 4 customers who have committed to give an intent to purchase order. 3 of them are order to cash, which is coming under the subscription of $100 per month. And another customer, which I talked about in the earlier stage, is that about shipping discharge, which is one of the shipping agencies in South India, where we have signed the contract with them to deliver a ship discharge automation process in Enthos PalmThread. So as of today, our monthly recurring revenue is around $1,047 per month, and yearly recurring revenue is around $12,500. This is US dollars. Okay, so this is currently what we look at it. But the advantage is that when we focus and deliver the shipping discharge process, I think our revenue of this year might go high, and we are focusing on how do we make that ship discharge process more successful. So here is a set of action plan, what we are focusing. In terms of number of new customers in the Q1, we have so far we have four customers, and because there's a lockdown in these last 2-3 months across the world, I think we are at least hoping to have 5 customers in the second quarter, and then 15 new subscriptions in Q3 and 30 new subscription in Q4. I think if we are able to get these customers, I think then that will be the very, very successful milestone for Enthos to achieve. And in terms of branding, we are going to have a cover story in APAC Business Headline magazines. Especially, we are going to talk about IP PaaS. And I take this opportunity. How many of you know that IP PaaS is coined by Enthos? So Enthos has come up with this new word or new acronym called IP PaaS. So Intelligent Business Process as a Service is created by Enthos itself. So we have to brand that idea, the concept of IP PaaS across the industry. So we are taking few branding exercises as well as some kind of a PR exercise to promote IP PaaS. So one of the activities this year are that we are going to write what is IP PaaS and its benefits in the business headlines. And also we are going to talk about IP PaaS in one of the very big Asia conference in Singapore, which is on intelligent process automation and big data and artificial intelligence conference in Singapore. So we are going to take a speaker session in Intelligent Process Automation Theater. I think it's 20 minutes presentation, which we are going to deliver on the benefits of IP PaaS. And in terms of customer events, in Q3, we will plan one a cluster-focused event, mainly in Coimbatore, mainly on textile-based industry, how how the O2C process can benefit their export business. And also in the Q4, we will have an exhibition at the same conference. So we are hoping to get some leads and customers from Singapore itself. So these 50 customers mainly come from India, and also we are expecting few from Singapore in Q4. In terms of product development, I think the first quarters we are focusing on the purchase order what we received, and fine tuning some of this process and the UI to meet their expectation. And in the Q2, our main focus is that order what we received for the shipping discharge. So that is our product development. And then the second half of 2020, we mainly focus on creating a console development. So the console is nothing but where a customer can come to our Pomfret console on web and then able to subscribe the process from the console itself. So that's the overall idea. With that only, we should able to grow the number of customers what we are dreaming to become a -- 1 IP PaaS provider. Okay. And also in terms of operations, we have gotten approval from Hosur IT Tech Park. So we will move our R&D center to Hosur IT Park in Q4 this year. So that's about the Q 2020. But let me before go to the fundraising requirements, right? So let's look at what is the overall the target or market acquisition or customer acquisitions the Endos is trying to achieve, correct? So by year 5, which is 2025, we should have roughly customers of 36,000 customers in Endos Pomfret IP PaaS platform. So that is only possible with the two main strategic implementation. One, we should have an online console or online application where subscription has to happen automatically. The second thing is that the investment has to happen periodically to get this customer acquisition. So in order for us to achieve this 36,000 customers in 5 years, these are the kind of projection of investment what the management is expecting to raise to get the positioning of what we are looking for. In this year, we are expecting to raise the US dollar 350K, and the following year we are expecting to raise $5 million US dollar, and third year we are expecting $8 million US dollar. Following with that, fourth year we will look at around $13 million US dollars. Correct. So what we are trying to say is that if this kind of an injection of investment comes in the Endos, and then Endos can get 36,000 customers in Endos platform. So let's focus on this year fundraising seed round. The whole management vision is to make Endos a global $1 billion company in 2024 or in 5 years time frame. But it's a too long period to say that it is a $1 billion company in 2024, as the technologies might change and the industry might change, as the COVID has already changed some dynamism in the industry. But what we are pretty confident that as of today's the product what we have completed and the market analysis what we have done, the management is very confident that at least as of today, by 2024, we will become at a valuation at $300 million US dollar. So the current raising is at the valuation cap of $4 million US dollar in the safe or simple agreement for future equity. Okay. So in terms of we are planning to raise 400K, and we have raised so far that 85K. The fund has been raised already, and the remaining one is 315K. So the minimum investment packet is the 25K US dollar. So if you are going to further invest in Entos, please, you are welcome to do that, as you can really look at the benefit of the returns, right? So you invest at the 4 millions, but if you wait in the 5 years, the exit plan, that confidence, what we are trying to say as of today, might be at the valuation at 300 million. Yeah. So if you know any other angels or any other investor, seed investor, early stage investors, please pass this information or connect them with me, and so that we can take this one further, because this is one of the most important things what we need to make our vision come true. So where are we going to apply that 350K fund what we are going to receive? It will take us for 12 months. We can survive the 350K in that for 12 months. And end of the 12 months, what we wanted to commit to our investors is that by end of 12 months, after this investment is being deployed, we should able to get 47 paid customer, at least at the $100 per month revenue of Entos PalmFred. So minimum investment or minimum revenue, what we are expecting from this at the end of 12 months is 73K for our subscription-based revenue model. And the second, in terms of research and development, we should able to come up successfully deliver our PalmFred console, because that's very important for us to become a global company or an IP provider. So this year, the second half, we will focus on the development of the PalmFred console and how automatically both O2C and TM can be subscribed from the console itself. So that's the commitment or the performance metrics we wanted to commit to our investors. And the third one is in terms of operation. We will have a headquarters set up in Singapore, which we have a small the virtual desk space now, but probably we will look at a small headquarters office in Singapore and our R&D development center in India. So who are all behind this the dream come true? So that's myself, and I have more than 25 years of experience in IT, and mainly 16 years in Hewlett Packard. I started my career as a HP Unix kernel engineer, and also I was also part of a workflow product engine developer when I was in HP United Kingdom. I worked across various countries and played various roles, solution architect and regional business development manager, program manager, project manager. So I have a versatile experience in technology and managing people as well. And last 5 years, I've been working with other partners, mainly with the Red Hat, and providing PPA or RPA consulting in APAC region, and some projects where we implement also. So that's my core strength, and especially you can consider me as a technology entrepreneur, and who has a solid experience in technology as well as in the market or solution implementations. Then we have Joseph O. Young, Director and Sales Marketing in Singapore. As I have experience in technology, Joseph has a very solid experience, more than 25 years experience in sales itself. And he's experienced in selling enterprise applications in Asian region, and he was able to sell most of enterprise applications in this region. At this point in time, Joseph is part-time and not fully into the Entos, but the moment when the investment is secured, he will join our team. And then we have Ramesh Sundarajan, who is taking care of enterprise business sales in India. And he has a versatile experience in selling, starting from RB radios to consumer electronics to laptops, personal computers, and then he's also he has also sold enterprise applications or any applications used by enterprises. So he's also very solid experience in sales and marketing, and he takes care of at the moment full time with me in India customer acquisitions. And the fourth, we have a senior director, Davis Chiramal, who is my ex-HP director in HP, and who also has a versatile industry experience. He is an ex-Air Force India serviceman, and he was a senior director in HP. And before he retired, he was a senior um, strategic director in NetApp India, operating from Bangalore. Now, currently, he is coaching and mentoring a lot of startup entrepreneurs, and also he's also an angel investor or early stage investor, invested in a lot of small startups, including Entos. So his main role is that looking at the overall company strategy, and is this company compliance to some of the standards or some of the things what investors expect to meet certain expects. And since he is an investor itself, so who can put certain policies and practices into practice so that the company become transparent of investors. And he also an ex-alumni of one of the premier institutes in India, Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta. He has done his postgraduate diploma in management, equivalent to MBA from that premier institute. So what I would commit to our investors is that I think we have a solid team, and I believe that if we can't deliver the thing what we are trying to vision, and I think who can deliver that. In the end, I think I would like to say that we have secured around 3,500 square feet office space in Osur Tech Park, which is in Tamil Nadu in South India. So the project is in still progress, but basic amendments are already ready, and we are planning to move in there by Q4 calendar year, or in somewhere around October or November. So this will host around 50 to 100 workstation for our R&D or development center, and I think that's good enough for this year and next year for our POMFRET development in India. So I think that is a good start. I think we are able to secure, and hopefully we will make a real advantage out of this IT park in Tamil Nadu. So, and how does the COVID-19 impacts for Entos? I think everybody talks about that after coronavirus, it is pre-COVID and post-COVID, right? So that I think everybody agrees in that way. So it also impacts Entos Technologies, and especially as a startup company. In fact, few of our PPM and some of the automation consulting project and implementation projects in Q1 have got postponed. Almost like 4 or 5 projects have got postponed indefinitely, correct? So I'm pretty sure that this will continue and over the period of time. So what I could foresee is that definitely there will be less IT spending by across all industries. So most company might limit their expenses to adapt post-COVID-19 economic slowdown. So that definitely will put us a challenge of our acquisitions. But I see that as an opportunity also, because we are giving a low-cost solution, and the companies might realize that the automation is very important even when they hit this kind of a situation in future. So automation and remote kind of workplaces and automation becoming a very key important aspect. So this also, in a way, I would say, will give an opportunity for Entos, meaning that we are giving an affordable solution and automation still possible with Entos. So I see that as an opportunity. And another opportunity, what I would see as an entrepreneur, is that when this kind of an economic slowdown happens, big companies will stumble to manage the high cost of operation. And since we are very, very less cost operation today, we can adapt and we invest in the right set of product and right set of strategy, so that when the market comes up, we should able to penetrate with the customers with the successful of the customer acquisition. So I see that overall COVID-19 is both pros and cons. I think we need to, in every adversity, there's an opportunity, and we need to see that way. And how do we adapt ourselves to go and ready to face the market when the market bounces back? That ends my update on investors. So if you have any questions or anything, you can always reach me on investment@entostech.com. And if you also wanted to let more investors to come on board, please help us to by doing so, by introducing us ourselves, or you can forward or you can request them to send an email to investment@endostech.com. I hope that gives you some of the key milestones or key update which I would like to keep it to my investors. And last, I would like to thank all of you who has trusted Entos Technologies and invested in your hard-earned money with us. And we will make sure that you will get the best return in 2024 or in 5 years from now. Thank you, and thanks for watching this video. Bye.